If you've been on this channel for the last year, you'll know the PlayStation 2 is my favourite console. I've had one since 2002, and even today, it's a force to be reckoned with. Over the years, certain PlayStation 2 games got re-released on modern platforms, usually with a graphical overhaul to take advantage of the more powerful system in question. While it's nice to see games updated, not all of them will ever get this treatment. Licensing issues, lack of popularity, or simply obscure titles will be left behind, making it harder to play them going forward. Luckily, emulation has been a great way to preserve games and play them outside of real hardware. Emulation has another trick up its sleeve: graphical enhancements. You've seen this before, but what if we went one step further? How about remastering our favourite games, ones that most certainly will never see a re-release? Using PCSX2, I aim to see what a remastered version of the tested PlayStation 2 games could possibly look like. To achieve this, I forced all these settings on. I also used software rendering mode to give us an idea of how each title looked on real PlayStation 2 hardware. Selected titles also have texture replacement packs available to further boost graphical fidelity. This hack was used on some games, and we'll see if it's worth using. It's my first time trying this hack, so any advice for a future video to make sure it works properly would be welcomed. With over 20 games to look at, you might need a snack for this. Let's begin with G-Saviour. Released in 2000 for the PlayStation 2 in Japan only, this early Gundam title looked quite good for the time. Good texture detail, decent animation, and a high frame rate showed the PlayStation 2 in a good light. Too bad the game is average and a bit easy to play. Thank goodness the soundtrack is fantastic. Anyway, you've been seeing it in software rendering mode. Let's enhance it fully with PCSX2. Straight away, the graphics are sharper, cleaner, less blurry, and those annoying interlaced artifacts have been sharply reduced thanks to the no interlacing patches on PCSX2. Both the G-Saviour mech at the main menu screen and the game's in-game cutscenes see a graphical boost across the board. It's not a bad way to breathe new life into the title despite not using the texture replacement feature. This is the Japanese version of Valkyrie Profile 2. I picked this version because it offers 480p output, and as you can see, it looks great. The graphical detail is up there with some of the best the system ever produced. I'll admit the depth of field effect is a bit poor around the characters, but that's the only drawback. Let's see what we can do with PCSX2 when using the graphical enhancements. As expected, there's a huge jump graphically, and the initial 480p base helps greatly. Some background and minor details don't upscale well, making the look of the game less coherent when taken up to this resolution. The American version of this title does allow for texture replacements, which would help the textures look more uniform than what you see here. You do lose the 480p output of the Japanese version as a trade-off, which is a shame. Here's a Japanese exclusive game that we in the West call Art Truck Battle. This is the first game in the series to arrive on the PlayStation 2, and I have to say, it looks pretty nice. No, it's not Gran Turismo 3, but compared to the PlayStation versions of the titles, this is a clear graphical upgrade on those. Everything sees a jump with nice lighting, good texture work, a clear picture despite only running in 480i, and solid frame rates. So, what happens if we try to spruce up the graphics? Well, for the most part, it's a pleasant upscale. Okay, some of the lighting effects look suspect and the sky looks pixelated, but this is worth doing if you wanted to see this game in higher resolution. I wish it had a texture replacement pack made for it. Perhaps it might fix the sky and improve texture detail even further. Let's try the overlooked Dragon Ball Z Infinite World. It uses the same graphics engine as Budokai 3 and looks great. Even in 2008, this title nails the cel-shaded look of the show. I wish it had 480p to help make it even more detailed, but oh well. I think you noticed how pixelated the graphics are, especially in motion. This is one of the reasons why 480p natively might have helped here, reducing the interlacing artifacts to help make the game look cleaner. Can PCSX2 fix this? Of course it can. With the higher resolution in play, the game is very smooth while retaining the detail of the graphics without breaking them or causing glitches to appear. For me, PCSX2 definitely does a good job cleaning this game up. It's a good user version remaster, if I do say so myself. I think it's time to show you the texture replacement modification working, and here's Gran Turismo 4's Spec 2 mod. Here's the default presentation of the game when using its 480p native mode. It's sharp, and as we know, Gran Turismo 4 was a graphical masterclass for the PlayStation 2. The developers pushed the system to its limit here, extracting everything the PlayStation 2 had to offer. That doesn't mean we can't improve the graphics further, and I'm hoping the texture replacement modification can allow this. It might be a bit tough to spot at first, but if we look carefully at certain details, we can see how the replacement textures have helped to clean up the graphics, even when using a huge upscale boost. It's amazing that a user-made modification can work as well as this for emulation. It's simply breathtaking. When I found out that Zone of the Enders, the second runner, had a texture replacement pack, I had to try it. Using software rendering mode, we still have a visually appealing package that delivers in spades. We can see some limits with texture detail on the background, and the low 480i resolution isn't helping, but I still appreciate the graphics on this title. Can we see a difference using PCSX2's enhancements and the texture replacement pack? Oh goodness, yes! Look at it back to back, the difference is clear to see. Pretty much everything in the game sees a boost graphically, even with the high resolution output in play. While the Gran Turismo 4 Spec 2 mod looked great, Zone of the Enders, the second runner, is practically transformative. I'm aware this did get remastered some years ago. I wonder how this compares to it. Next, it's Tekken Tag Tournament. I really love this game. It reminds me of Tekken 3 if it was enhanced and focused on the tag team aspect. Oh, and the soundtrack rocks here. Anyway, as you can see, the graphics combine 3D elements with 2D backdrops, which all Tekken games did up to this point. It looks pretty good with software rendering mode. However, it is clear the low 480i resolution is making the graphics look a bit blurry to my eye. I wonder if we can change that using PCSX2's enhancements and the texture replacement pack? Yes, we can. It's clear straight away how much clearer all the graphical elements are. The menus, the 2D backdrops, the character graphics, everything sees much higher resolution boosts across the board. Wait, hold your horses folks, it's not perfect. As you'd expect, some elements don't look right, almost as if it was fed through an artificial intelligence program and not made by hand, but it's a good effort overall. Again, this title got an official remaster years ago. You folks tell me how this compares to that. Here we go. It's Black for the PlayStation 2. Utilizing the 480p output here, the game is a stunning piece of brilliance. Have you ever seen destruction on this scale, especially on a PlayStation 2 game? Black is awesome, really awesome. I know, it's not a masterpiece of gaming, but who cares? When the title is this fun, this explosive and theatrical, how can you not like it? We have established the game looks great, but can we go one step further, especially with the texture replacement mod? Oh, no, this is not good at all. The textures are phasing in and out depending on the distance, and they pop in on a dime, which is distracting. I mean, the actual quality of the textures is somewhat better once they stick, but for me, this wasn't always the case. Maybe I did something wrong during the process, but all other cases so far were successful and I've done the same process throughout. Unless you can find a way to make the texture replacement work properly, I suggest just upscaling the game with PCSX2 as is and not bother with the mod for this title. Ah yes, it's Onimusha 2. The first game was great, but this, wow, what a game. I only got this physically a few weeks ago and I'm really enjoying my experience so far. Resident Evil meets samurai action, a combination that should not work and yet here it is. As for the graphics, the pre-rendered backgrounds look pretty nice here, especially the water effects. 3D models are detailed as well and blend into the environment fairly well, helped ironically by the 480i video output. No 480p native resolution here unfortunately. Even so, we have a really nice looking title. Can we improve it further with the texture replacement modification? Well, there's definitely a change. Look at the character models. You can see big changes when using the texture replacement modification here. It's quite dramatic. Unfortunately, the same cannot be said of the pre-rendered backgrounds. They did not get a boost and now the characters stick out from it, breaking some of the immersion, especially the case when the water does something like this. I'm not sure how to feel about this texture replacement mod. It looks great on characters, but maybe don't use it at such high resolutions. This title got an official HD remaster in 2025. It'll be interesting to see how it looks against this. I'm looking forward to seeing if we can improve Grand Theft Auto Vice City. The original PlayStation 2 version looks decent for the time, especially if you turn off the Trails option, which I did here. It's fairly clean, although the 480i resolution is holding it back, I feel. Fortunately, PCSX2 and the texture replacement modification is here. How does it look this time? Pretty amazing, I have to say. Is this the most comprehensive upscale of the video? All of the improvements make a huge difference to the graphics and it allows the game to shine. Admittedly, at times the game does have a plastic look to it. I'm not sure if that's the correct way to describe it, but it's overly shiny in places. Here's the thing, everything that could see improvement did. Whoever made this texture pack did a fantastic job. Again, this game got remastered a few years ago. I wonder if this one is better than Rockstar's official attempt. Well folks, I tested more games to see if we could remaster them using PCSX2. Enjoy the graphical changes in the montage, and I will see you at the end. We're back, and as you can imagine, using PCSX2 to try and remaster or improve graphical fidelity has mixed results. Sometimes it can surprise you, and at other times it can be disappointing, especially games that used mixed graphical elements such as 2D backdrops and 3D character models. Other times it's a fault of the emulator or certain games just not liking the idea of upscaling graphics past what they were originally designed for on the PlayStation 2. Even so, the experience was fun to do, and the results definitely show how powerful emulation and the retro community can be. If you want to try this for yourself, there's plenty of information out there on how to do it. Once you know how to do it, the process is fairly straightforward. I also hope more games can support this feature in the future. I can think of a few titles that could benefit from it. Colin McRae Rally 04 is my go-to as the texture quality was reduced on the PlayStation 2 compared to other platforms. You folks let me know, did you feel the effort to remaster PlayStation 2 games with PCSX2 was worth it? Is there any game you'd love to see get this treatment? Tell me in the comments, and I will see you soon.